Reading my MBA Reddit text classifier project. This this is a project from CodePath AI course 201, and this text classifier automatically categorizes posts from the Reddit MBA community using a fine-tuned model, but we're also using a baseline model to compare the fine-tuned model with. So in terms of the community, I chose the MBA community because I resonate with it, and because this community is always updated, so there's a lot of posts, daily posts, and this post there's 4 classification types or 4 labels. So a post will be classified could be classified as analytical, so it's more focused on statistics, numbers, film schematic analysis, salary cap logistics, and or historical context. Second second label is a narrative or fan conjecture. So this is like opinion or a person, or it could be also someone famous giving an opinion on as it relates to the NBA about a certain player, or it could also be trade rumors, because they're rumors. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that it's actually true. The third label is low effort reactionary. So this is like a meme or like emoji, or using emojis, or like rage baiting, or like you're making fun of someone. Your example could be like, so you call someone after a game finishes, you call a player trash, or you say bad stuff about him. It's like a immediate reaction after a game or playoff series. The fourth, and this is the most common that I saw in the data set that we had, it was news, media, or buff. So it was like team announcements, MP transactions that are coming from actual sources. So it's not rumors. So it's trusted sources, like from ESPN, a sports radio show, or at Fox Sports 1, injury reports, also community events. So in my data set, there was a lot of posts about the New York Knicks championship ceremony, or parade, not ceremony, because they just won it. They recently won the championship, so that those posts fell into this news, media, and fluff category. So the data source we use, the link is the Reddit, is the MBA Reddit labeling process. I didn't want no data set to be more than 70%, so that there's some diversity. So most of the data I got, it was mostly news, media, and fluff. Then it was narrative or fan projection, so it was opinions and news about the league, what's going on in the league. Or like, there's less low effort and reactionary, because the NBA off season started, and the playoffs ended recently. So the NBA season's over. Analytical, insight driven. It was less. I expected this to be more, because there's a lot of people, a lot of content creators. They post stuff. They're using numbers, hard evidence. So we'll go to evaluation. Let's evaluate. So I'm my baseline model. It did pretty good. It has 76% accuracy. There's 30 test cases. So 170 were training, 30 were validation, and 30 were testing. And so for analytical, the F1 score was good. The weakness is in the low effort and reactionary. So there's only 3 cases, so there's a data imbalance. 3 of the 30 tests were of low effort and reaction. I need more test cases, so in the future to improve, we need to increase the testing and decreasing the training. I didn't do that for this project because I wasn't sure if I was allowed to. In terms of the fine-tuned model, it performed worse. It did good for conjecture and news media, because those were the majority of the posts. But for low effort and reactionary, they're both 0. So it couldn't determine the boundaries for that. For low effort and reactionary, I'm gonna talk about so those were. It does good only in 2 labels, and it does bad in the other 2. So half the labels, it may be overfitting, which I'll talk about in the reflection. But so here's the confusion matrix. This is a true positive, so 10 out of 10. 10 out of, actually, yeah, 10 out of 18. So predicted. There were, I believe, 12 incorrect predictions. So let's go to our failure analysis. This is what I have to talk about. I'll give one example where it failed. So this is Skip Bayless saying the Spurs are the best fit for LeBron next season. This is a narrative. So this is Skip Bayless. This is not news media because Skip Bayless said this in a podcast. He didn't say this like in ESPN. I know he used to work there. He's a former analyst. He used to work in FS1 too, on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp. But he left the media space and he's like old. So this shouldn't count as news and media. It should count as a narrative. So he's saying this like from a fan perspective. So fix this. This is like more of a prompting problem. My system prompt wasn't specific enough, stating this boundary, in that the narrative and fan conjecture, the person who said it and on what platform they said it matters too. I have to let the system prompt know that. So that's my fault. Showed one incorrect example. Let me show you one correct example. So this is one post where it stated SGA joins Nike, so he signs, I think, a shoe endorsement deal, or whether it may be clothing or apparel. But this is news because it relates to an NBA player and it's an endorsement. It's an off-court activity, and it's more of an announcement because these apparel companies, they're in partnerships with the NBA, so I believe, yeah, this is news and fluff, and this guy was correct, even though the confidence was low. So the confidence was low, which I was surprised by some of these correct answers. So I think the fine-tuned model, just guessed. And another one, let's go over this one. Knicks versus Pacers next season is even more exciting than Spurs OKC rematch. Halliburton is coming back with a vengeance against team he beat in historical fashion. And it cuts here, but this is opinion because this fan who wrote this, he gave his opinion. He's saying the Pacers and Knicks, that's going to be more exciting than the OKC and Spurs rematch. He's saying the Eastern Conference is going to be more exciting because Halliburton, he was injured, and then they faced off last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Knicks, they lost to them. So we'll see if the Pacers could like regain, let's say they could make the finals again. So it's more like a narrative. He's giving his opinion, but he's also saying why, and that the narrative is that Halliburton is coming back from an injury. And let's see if like it's a storyline, more of a storyline. It's not in news or media, this example, because it's just a fan saying it. It's not like an insider saying it. Someone working on ESPN, FS1, or sports radio. This is what my model it didn't. Another Skip Bayless post where he called Wembanyama a spoiled child. This was identified news and media, so it's the same reasoning behind the previous failure example that I gave. That it doesn't. I have to determine let the system problem know about the boundary. And the confidence is also low, but like the person who's saying the opinion, and if what platform are they saying it on. So I want to reflect what I want in my model. I wanted at least F1 score for each label to be 0.5. For some of it, around that. For two of the examples, it worked. Two of the labels, it worked, and two of the other labels, it didn't work. I believe I didn't want no overfitting or underfitting, but I think I got overfitting, so I put my epoch. I set it to 4 because the accuracy was at low initially when I was playing. I was messing around with the parameters. The default was 3, and then it got a low accuracy of 0.49% accuracy. But when I increased it, I got a higher accuracy, 60%. But it's essentially overfitting. I also wanted to change the train valid test splits from 70%, 15%, 15% to 60, 20, 20. So 60% training, 20% validation, 20% test. I believe I needed more test cases for the low effort and reactionary and narrative driving insights. They had low F1 scores, so boundaries weren't recognized. So that's a flaw in my fine-tuned problem. Common pattern that I that noticed was that like when keywords like famous NBA players or like media members or former players like LeBron, Jalen Brunson, Charles Barkley, when those keywords appeared, ignored the intent of the text and it just instantly labeled it. So to improve this, I think I have to lower the epoch and then the learning rate. I might have to lower that in the future. So change up my hyperparameters. Add more. Talk about the fix my system prompt. Make it more specific. Oh, here's my system prompt right here. For this one, when I was more specific, it gave me token errors. So I had API. I had to run into API errors, and I was using a lot of this character length. You have to make sure you're like straight to the point. Don't like add jargon and. But yeah, so this is the API errors. So this is AI usage. I used AI prompt. I asked it like, what's wrong with? Why am I getting these this is for the baseline model too, but why am I getting these errors? And it stated that I was using too many tokens. So my system prompt was 400, 500 tokens, so that was a lot. So that's for milestone 4. I decreased my system prompt, so I got rid of some of that boundaries. Some of them, it was my mistake there, but I'm gonna have to change my system prompt to where this is using less tokens, but it's straight to the point, and the boundaries are determined better to improve this model and change my hyperparameters for the baseline model. No, sorry, for the fine-tuned model. Change my hyperparameters. That's how you can better improve the model. Better improve this model. I'm gonna put the demo video link underneath here when I'm done recording. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you soon.